Yeah, thank you so much for joining in. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And in fact, this is going to be our first episode where we have like two people, two guests in the single episode. So I'm really looking forward to
Oh,
this.
that's great.
Okay, before we begin, I would like to tell you that this is going to be a like informal session. Just we are just going to discuss a free flowing conversation on mooting and your experiences on it. So let us start with a brief introduction of yourselves. Please, Gauri, you first go, and then Vedant, please introduce yourself for the audience.
Yes, all right. So hello everybody. My name is Gauri Nagode. I'm currently in my final semester. I actually have my exams in a few days, and I have been mooting since I have been in my second year. So 3 years of mooting, and it has been an exceptional journey. All of my moots have been national level moots, and from my second year to my fifth year, it has been an exceptional learning curve. And yeah.
Wonderful, Vedant, you go now.
So my name is Vedant Bhagwat and I'm at the last semester in my college. So basically I've been mooting from I guess from my third year onwards. And the journey has been so amazing, so amazing. I've done like more than 16 moots till now, out of which 15 of them were national moots, excluding all the intra-college moots and everything. So for me, my entire college life can be summed up in one word, that is mooting.
Wow, I mean, 15, 16 moods within 3 years.
Yes.
That makes it like five moods every
Moots.
year and three moods per semester. How do you manage to do it, first of all? Forget everything. Why did you do? When did you start? I don't. I want to know how did you manage? Because we have internal exams, then we have semester exams, we have internships. How do you do three moods per semester?
So basically, I'll share a small story. The first move that I did in my third year was at Mumbai Law University at Kalina. And at that mood, we were the newbie team. All three of us had no idea about what mooting is.
Yeah.
And the day we went there for the competition, the atmosphere, the teams, and the energy which it gave me at that point, I was like, no, I want this throughout my school career. So I was like, no, I have to keep doing this. Basically, that was the main trigger part, which was like every time I have some time in my hand, I'll go for moot. So whenever our college gave us an opportunity to do a moot court, I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. I might do this also. Or this topic is interesting. Or this law is something that I have to just do in moot courts, not in real life. So that it went on and on and on and on. And that was a vicious
You
cycle I
just
was stuck
kept,
in. Yes.
yeah, you just kept finding another reason after reason to move.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So might I add to what Vedant is saying? Our college has been really helpful and motivating whenever it comes to mood. Like it has never happened that we've suggested, or asked them whether we can participate in something and they haven't supported us like completely and throughout.
That's great because in our college we have a limit of two moots per year. We cannot moot more than that because
Oh.
they want to give chance to other people, and that is fair as well. But
Hmm.
I don't think normally students, have that guts to moot for more than twice a year. You people are exceptional. uh, but I would also want to know कि आप लोगों ने हमेशा साथ में ही moot किया or did you moot in other teams as well, with other teams as well?
Uh, I
We have
think
done, I
Vedant
guess,
first mood, yeah.
three moods together, right?
अच्छा.
Yeah.
We have done three
And
moods
rest
together
have been
and
with different
different
teams.
peoples. Yes.
Okay, so it was not the same team. I thought ki sometimes what happens that you found a friend and now you three are gelling well. You all three of you love mooting, so let us continue doing that. But finding new team every time is again another task.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely, completely.
The thing is,
Fine.
like, when you have a solid team, like, you obviously know how it works, what one person is good at, but sometimes
Yeah.
everyone is not available at the same time. So it's also always a fun experience to find new people, and work with them. But although I would also say that when you have a fixed team, I think Vedant and I together have also won, I think, two or three moods in some
Yes.
capacity or the other, either as a winner or as a runner-up. So I think that goes to say that once you have somebody you can work with and gel with, you should definitely stick to them.
I completely agree. In fact, I am someone who believes that you, of course, you need to have a balance of skills while selecting your team members, but you also need to see if you're comfortable working with them, because you got to spend a lot of time together. And if you are forming team with people you are not really comfortable, or you're not able to uh, hang out with, chill a bit, then it becomes a little difficult.
One
That's
thing
true.
I find very interesting about having a new teammate every time is you get to know different thought processes of each and every person there is. Because when you work in a same team for continuous 10, 15 moves, then you have a single
Yeah,
thought process that goes on in the team. So just to get a new perspective about how you can also look at the problem or how you could also put forward this argument, it is very amusing and interesting at how even the juniors or the seniors give us a new perspective of looking at mooting in
of
general.
of course. Also, continuously mooting with the same person might not stop, but it might slow down your growth a bit.
Only if you fight, yes.
Okay, so what are the things that you look when you're forming team?
Um,
Mm,
I think for me, one of the first things I look for is their interpretation of things, especially the law, and their thought process. Because, like Vedant said, when you deal with a moot, you can't have linear thinking.
Hmm.
It needs to be from all perspectives, from all directions. So you need somebody who's willing to look at things from a different perspective and has a good interpretation of at least the basic things, or if not, they're at least willing to try, because moot is something which takes up a lot of work, so you need to
Hmm.
have that ability to try, to be willing to give your all. I think that is what I would look for.
Okay, what about you, Vedant?
Mostly, I look for that is the person motivated in doing the moot or is he doing because of the peer pressure that his friends that ki भाई तू law school में अभी भी एक भी moot नहीं किया, or
Right,
maybe if they how keen are they into that particular aspect. So basically, as we all know that in mooting there are different kinds of moots. So for example, I have done most of my moots in constitutional law because that is my favorite subject.
right.
So I would see to it that what the strength of the other person is. For
Hmm.
example, if there is a person who is good at mooting but his forte is in criminal law and this is a
Hmm.
constitutional moot, I would rather prefer a person who would go for a constitutional moot rather than a criminal moot.
Right. Okay, so like Vedant said, he has mostly done in moots in constitutional law. How do you select moots? Because there are a number of moots at any given point of time. So,
Right. I think first has to be your core area of interest,
hmm.
and I think that is the most important thing. And second thing is whether or not the a particular problem or the issues in there interest you, or whether or not you find it intriguing. So for me, I have always liked constitutional law and subjects like investments and securities and all of that. So if there is ever a moot competition that is along those lines, right, then I will always pick those. But that being said, we are still very young, so I would still advise everybody to try out criminal moots or civil moots. In fact, my last moot was my first core civil moot, which dealt extensively with CPC and all of that. So your interest is the first thing, and second, I would also say that be open to trying different things,
Slow, basically
irrespective of
slow.
how well you do in there.
Okay. It is very fascinating because I also love mooting, but I've only done 5 moots. That being said, one was online because, of course, we are from 2020 to 2025 batch. All three of us uh,
Right.
started in COVID time.
Right.
So things were online. We lost 1.5 years to COVID. I don't know about you people, but we had 3 semesters in virtual mode, and we started going to college only after our after third semester. So one
Yeah, we
was
had the pretty much same
we.
routine.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
think
Three
all,
semesters online and the fourth
yeah,
one offline.
because it was like that, na. Everybody was going through the same
Right.
situation. So, and I started in my first year. We did one intra moot, and then 5 moots were like online offline mix. One was online, and then 4 were um, offline moots. And I was exhausted. So it takes at least 2 months to prepare for one moot, and I'm still not
Right.
able to you know, get ki how did you manage to manage time? I mean, it's fine. You love mooting, you try, want to do, keep doing it, but then you have to give your semester exams, you have to give your internals, you have to prepare well in order to, take the best out of it. So, how did you manage to do that?
So basically, if I have to be very honest about it, like I said, I have done mostly constitutional moots, and constitutional law is a part which fascinates me a lot.
Hmm.
So basically, what I used to do, except for my college time, the time which I have in my hand, I would used to avidly read about constitutional laws, or
I,
rather read case laws as not as a hobby, but as a part that if at all a new mood comes on this topic, I should be well prepared about that. So this was how I used to do it. And whenever exams were on the line, we used to have कि बस अभी ये time limit है. इसके बाद we are stopping. We'll focus on the exams. And after the exams are over, then back to mooting.
wow. I mean, I'm sure you are a pro in constitutional law now because doing 13, 14 moots, and when you're mooting, you're not just reading the law, you are interpreting it, you are putting your critical and analysis to it. Though you must be thorough with the subject now.
I guess so.
Right. Um, so tell me about the beginning, like how was your first moot, when and which moot did you participate in then? And because of course this journey of 15 moots must have started there. So I would want to know your
Yes.
experience.
So basically, like I said, that my first moot which I did was at University of Law Academy in Mumbai, Kalina.
Hmm.
That also has a funny story behind it. So basically, when I was preparing for MHCET and CLAT, I made an online friend because, like you
Okay.
said, we were in the lockdown COVID batch.
Hmm.
So our class also shifted online. And
Hmm.
I made a new friend online who was from Mumbai. And we used to study together and we used to talk. So that for one friend called me one fine day saying, "Ki, this is our college first ever national moot and I want you to participate with your team." Then I asked our professor, ki, "Sir, this is what we do." But the thing is that in our college, we have a very unique process if you want to do a moot. So what you have to do, we have to send the brochures to our college.
Hmm.
After that, college posts it on a group on which every person who is interested can come give a presentation for the moot, and the top three best presenters are selected as the mooting team.
Okay, there's a
So,
slightly
in,
different process in our college. What they do
hmm,
is they send us the brochure and invitation. Whoever is
uh,
interested mails to the Moot Court Society with their team. So they do not
hmm.
pick individuals. They conduct an intra round, and then whichever team wins, they go for the competition. Okay, continue.
Okay. So basically, I asked my sir that, "Sir, tomorrow is the last date of registration and it is not possible for us to go to the entire process." The
Hmm.
sir was like, "How sure are you that you want to do this moot?" I was like, "Sir, I'm pretty sure I want to do it because this is my first moot."
Hmm.
Surprisingly, he allowed us without going through the entire process. And then I had my two teammates, both of them from my batch. We sat for the first time for doing a moot court competition. The best part was none of us knew how to even draft a memorial
Hmm.
because we had not done any intra moot before that.
Hmm.
It was just the first time, ki, "Ha, we have got an opportunity, let's do it." Now the question was how to do it.
Yes.
Then one fine day while working, we met a few seniors from ILS Law College. We were sitting in a cafe working on our arguments and working on our research, and we found a team who were working on another moot. They were seniors from ILS Law College.
Wow.
While we were discussing moot, and they were like, "Oh, are you doing the XYZ moot court competition which they were preparing for?" And like, "No, we are doing the one in Mumbai." So they're like, "क्या हुआ अभी तक?" We are like, "कुछ नहीं हुआ है, हमको कुछ आता ही नहीं है." So it was a fun experience that the
Hmm.
a student from the third year from INS Law College, they were like, "Wait, we'll tell you how to do it." Then they showed us how to draft a memorial. Then they were like, कि SCC ऐसा use करना होता है, मनोपत्र में ऐसे आप use कर सकते हो. You have to use these keywords to find case laws.
Hmm.
And the case laws में भी case type की case laws चाहिए. So everything what they did was tutor us from the very basics कि this is what mooting is.
Wow. I mean,
After that, it was a very luck by chance thing that happened with us. we were sitting they were sitting two tables across. They heard the word mooting, and one of them just stood up, came to us, he's like, "Are you doing this XYZ moot?" We were like, "No, we are not doing this. We are doing the one in Mumbai." And then he sat with us. We then sat with that ILS or our team for like good 8 to 10 days. They briefed us about how mooting works, how to draft a memorial. They also shared with us their memorials. We saw everything, and then we made our memorial. Now that I look at that memorial, I just laugh at it because it was
We
pretty
all
silly
do.
of us to do what we
We
have
all
done.
do. But
It
you
was, it
had
was,
stranger turned into your mentors or, God sent angels.
yes, I guess that was the best one because that was the only reason why we qualified at the top 8 out of 30 teams in our very first moot.
Wow. What was your
And then
experience
at
like?
the end
I'm
of the
so
day,
sorry.
experience of the other teams, just they were just so good that at the round of 8, we didn't get qualified for the semifinals, and that was it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm still stuck to the part where you got strangers, seniors from different college help you and teach you mooting. So wow, lucky people. What was your experience like, Gauri?
So my first ever moot court competition, right? From knowing what a memorial is, was my intra-college moot court competition, and that I did with two seniors whom I still reach out to whenever I need it. So because I was in my second year, right? Second year, or I think third year, like the start of it,
Fifth.
and they were in their pre-final years, right? So it was definitely an amazing learning process for me. And in my first mood itself, which was an intra-college mood, they gave me the chance to be a speaker. Now, obviously, that was my first mood. I didn't do my best, but that taught me a lot, in terms of knowing what questions to expect from the judges, and how you should be framing your arguments, what is the chronology. And then my first external moot court was with actually Vedant in Aurangabad. That moot, it was a very interesting moot in terms of it constitutional law and the 101st amendment and all of that. We did not do as well, but we definitely learned a lot. And that was my first ever. So like right from everything, how you draft your memorial, then how you communicate, how you dress. And then even though we didn't make it to the top 3 or whatever, we went to see the finals, right? So over there we saw how the teams who had qualified to the finals, how they were presenting their arguments, what was the content in there. So what I learned was that they key, irrespective of whether or not you win, you observe how the people around you have framed, even somebody who's opposite you, who's your opposing counsel or whatever. Pay attention to what they are doing, because they have different perspectives, and that definitely helps. So Aurangabad, even though we did not win, was a memorable one for me.
Definitely,
And
because
that is where I realized that I thoroughly and extensively enjoy speaking. Like, it ignites that, how do you say it? It brings out that adrenaline.
yeah. So, in our college, we are not allowed to go participate in an external moot until we have done the intra moot, the freshers moot, which is organized
Okay.
by the freshers in our college. And everyone was a fresher, so the level of the competition was not that high. So we
Yeah.
reached the finals, and then the judges were, if at all you guys know about Memo Pundits. Uh, it was a legal ed tech platform that focused only
Okay.
on teaching things. Now it's not functional now, but Anand Gupta and Rachnendra Tripathi sir, these two were the founders. They were the judge for the competition.
Okay.
The way he grilled me, I was literally in tears, and I would never want to feel that again. It was a terrible, terrible feeling. Now this thing led me to participate in another mood just to prove to myself that I'm not that bad, because I've always been a speaker in school, decent speaker in school.
Hmm.
Now facing that humiliation in the final round was something I just could not, uh, live with. So I had to do another moot as quickly as possible just to overcome that. And that made me participate in another online moot, which was a national moot. And we were semi-finalists then in our first year, second semester itself. So then I
Oh.
enjoyed, like, then I started enjoying moots, and then I started participating and doing it more often. Not as often as you guys, but yeah. Looking back, of course, when we looked at Memorial, we laugh, and um, when I remember that experience, I cry. So,
I think that's for everybody, like once you go into your mooting journey and then once you graduate, you look at your first two, three memorials and you're like, oh, is this how we made it? And then it's also nice because you're like, the progress has been really
yeah,
good, then because I remember what our memorials used to be then and what they are now. So,
yeah, it makes you feel good. But
yeah, yeah.
so I approached Vedant after I saw a story. I think Likita's Instagram story congratulating you guys for winning a competition. So I thought, nice.
Okay.
I'll just approach these people and let's talk about this particular mood where how did they participate, like how did they prepare and what was the experience like. Then I talked to Vedant
Hmm.
and he was like, I am currently in a mood court competition. I was like, didn't you win a competition last week? Like, I'm busy with this. I was like, okay. Then again, when we like reconnected, he was like, I have a competition tomorrow. Like, okay, I cannot speak to this person about one particular mood. I need to speak to them about mooting in general. So I was like, okay, I I was amazed, and then getting to know that 15 moods. Okay, so I want to know the worst experience. Everybody asks the best experience, that we will come to the best experience later, but I want to know your worst experiences in mooting.
Oh, so if I have to tell about my worst experience, it was in the Moot, the Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. We had gone for the Moot. So backstory of that Moot is that we had the same problem in Malden Law College, the very first Moot that I had won with my team. The same problem, the same issues,
Same
and
problem.
everything was completely similar. Yes, ditto, copy paste. Just the name of the
Oh,
country was different. That's it. So I was like, yes, I'm pretty confident. I have had good arguments. We have won the Moot. We'll
yeah.
just go and we'll be
Just
like, let's see
how
what
many
happens.
how many moods did you win?
Five
Um,
or six, five, I guess.
And you, Gauri,
Five.
so I have one, two, and then in two I've won individual like
speakers, which are
accolades.
best mooters.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Kudos to you
So
guys.
you could say four, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, please continue.
So I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty simple that I'll get one more experience opportunity to go out and moot."
Mm.
So the time I started my argument, the judge out of nowhere asked me that, "Oh, my son, in which year are you in?" I'm like, "Sir, we are not supposed to tell you whatever in which
Mm.
year or whatever personal
Mm.
information." No, no, just tell me in which year are you in? I was like, I'm in my third year of BLLB. Oh, so अभी लॉ चालू है? I was like, yes. ठीक है, फिर prayer बोल के बैठ जाओ. And he didn't let me argue. I
Why?
was, he was like, ठीक है ना, अभी लॉ चालू है. You have no idea about what law is. And we have many teams to listen to. We have far way better arguments, I guess. And we are least interested in having a third year law student
I
at
can't believe
BLLB
this.
led. But they didn't let me argue. I was standing at the podium for a max of 5 minutes, after which he asks me to sit down, just listening to my prayer. I didn't argue a single issue. I didn't tell my jurisdiction. I didn't tell him anything.
That's terrible.
So that was the most horrendous experience I've ever had in doing a moot.
Yeah. What about you, Gauri?
I think I mean, worst experience also has to be the same one
Acha,
yeah, at
you
that
were
college.
together in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
we both had to argue in different courtrooms, right? So I had no idea what had happened in his courtroom, and I was like, fine,
Different
like I was
courtrooms,
pretty
I don't get
confident
it.
our memorials were well drafted. So I went to argue. I did everything well. Now the thing is, the judges were distracted. They weren't really paying attention. Scrolling on their iPads or whatever. And then the other side, so then my arguments went well, everything. I thought they went well. And then when I saw the list of the qualifying teams, right, it was a team which had put their memorial was completely off. They put criminal cases and constitutional law which had no relation whatsoever. So I was pretty disappointed in terms ki, like this doesn't make sense. Like this doesn't add up in my head.
Mm.
But I was like, okay, there must have been something, and you just have to accept it. You may not win or you may not succeed at all times. So
Yeah.
you also have to learn to deal with difficult judges, or
Mooting is like, I think luck plays a big role in mooting because
yeah,
every
yeah,
courtroom has different judges. They have different criteria of marking. Some might
exactly,
praise you very well, but they might not mark you very well, and some give marks like water. So, luck plays a.
exactly. How I approach a mood problem is when you first get the mood problem, I read it once. The first time you probably don't understand as much because there's a
Uh-huh.
lot of new terms and things you may not be aware of. So you
Mm.
read it once, twice, thrice until you get a basic idea. Then once you get a basic idea, and some mood problems, as we know, some mood problems have the issues, some mood problems don't have the issues.
Mm.
So now, if so, obviously, a team comprises of the speakers and the researchers. So initially, and that is how I have worked as well, irrespective of who the researcher is and the speaker is, together we will all do our own set of research, right? So
Mm.
depending on what we have read so far, we will go read the laws relevant to that particular mood problem, whatever has been in discussion recently. And then as a team, you come with your research, you pool your resources together so that you get a general idea ki, acha, this is how it is. And then you start proceeding. And, the researcher gets his or her designated work ki, ye itna detail mein dekhna hai.
Mm.
And then you go start looking at your issues, then framing your arguments, brainstorming ki, do we take this path, what are the pros and cons of if we take this legal strategy, and all
Mm.
of that. So I think that works best for me because then you get a chronology of how things should be, and you have a
Mm.
clear idea in your picture.
Right.
So
Uh, how do you go about it, Vedant?
So basically, if I have to talk about it, the very first move which we did, all three of us had no idea how to go
Mm.
with it. So what we did at the very first move was ki just all of us trying to work on one single problem or issue at a time. So it
Mm.
was a bit too much time consuming because all three people, we are getting the same set of research, we are getting the same set of
Mm.
articles, we are getting the same set of case laws because all three of us have been working simultaneously on one issue itself.
Yes.
So gradually, when I did more and more moods with different teams, one thing what we used to do is we used to divide that one person will research for the practitioner, one will do it for the
Mm.
respondent.
Mm.
And while doing the research, if I'm doing for the practitioner and Gauri is doing for the respondent, if I find any case or anything that Gauri can use in the respondent memorial, then I'll give it completely to her. And whatever research she feels from the petitioner, she'll send it to me. Why
Mm.
do this is because it becomes very difficult that if the both of us have been doing the petitioner for the last 8 days, and now we have to change our mindset from the petitioner to the respondent,
Mm.
that becomes a very difficult part to do. कि अभी उस साइड से दिमाग नहीं चल रहा. So it
Mm.
is better कि when we do it, we find research separately, and while framing of arguments and making of the memorial comes into the picture, then all three of us sit together, frame the arguments, frame the memorials accordingly.
Okay. So it's very interesting because see, all three of us have different perspective, whether it's team selection, whether it's approaching the mood proposition. So what I do is, I prefer discussing the mood proposition after 2 3 days. Like we have given individually 2 3 days to the mood proposition. We have understood whatever we could, and then discussing it. And then I prefer dividing issues. So we'll pick a side, either petitioner, respondent, and then
Mm,
what I prefer is we divide the issues as we are going to argue. So if I'm speaker one and I'm going to argue issue one and issue two, I'll research on those issues. I'll ask co-counsel to research on the other issues, and the researcher would help in all the issues, and we'll try to complete the research from one side, frame a rough draft of memorial from one side, and then we jump to another. So all three of us have different approaches, I guess. And when
oh,
see
completely different
different,
approaches.
yeah, and when you meet with other teams, like other team members, I think your perspective changes, and then you find the best way, what works the best for you.
Right.
Otherwise, it
right.
becomes monotonous कि सेम टीम में कर रहे हैं, सेम ही तरीके से कर रहे हैं. So,
Yeah, and I think like I mean, it takes a few tries to understand what works best for you.
right,
So, and like one thing that I have found is key, even in our preparation, right, there is so much of heated debate. Like until and unless something or a legal point convinces me as well as the other team members, it does not get included in our memorial. Which in the moment, we're like, okay, we're fighting too much about an issue, like we don't even know if this will come up. But in the long run, it's always a good thing, is what I've realized in hindsight, because you get foundations clear, you get your basics clear. So whatever any judge or any counsel asks, you've already gone through everything that you possibly have to, and you've already had debates, so ki, acha, potentially this might be asked or that might be asked.
right. So one thing which one of my seniors told me in the first ever moot which we did was you uh, know your facts better than the judge. The judge may know the law more than you, but you know the facts. So you always try to confuse the judge from with the facts. And I think
Yes,
facts, if you are clear with the facts, half the work is done. And then, of course,
that is true. That is correct.
most important and most difficult task is to navigate the disagreements professionally, not ruining the
Hmm.
friendship and the coordination, the comfort level with the team members, and navigating the disagreements. How do you do that?
My first question would be, do we do that? No, I'm just kidding. So I mean, I think there was a mood. I think last April we were working on this mood problem, and I was out of town, and it was very chaotic. We had our submissions and everything. So I think we disagreed a lot. Like especially Vedant and I, we were having disagreements. We almost every day. But then you have to keep the sometimes you might say something, the other person might say something, but what you have to understand is this is all for the mood, and at the end of it you should be good
Yeah, at
friends, if not
least
stronger,
at
so
the end of
whatever,
the day, we are a team and we
yeah,
have the
yeah,
best interest in
exactly,
mind.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So even if it seems personal, you have to learn to not take it personally, because it's
Yeah,
just something that happens in the heat of the moment. And being a lawyer, I think you have to be used to dissenting opinions a lot, because that's a dominant part of our profession, I think.
yes, right. Um, yeah, I mean, I just wanted this to be a free flowing conversation, and all I can think of is uh, how much we enjoy mooting because
That's right.
this is the closest we can get to mooting. As I mentioned to Vedant earlier, कि, we enter law school with the notion कि black coat पहन के जाएंगे कोर्ट में argue करेंगे.
Doing
And
it
now you
right,
are getting to do that as a law student. This is the closest you can get to as a law student. So you keep doing that, and you
right.
want to keep doing that. And then if at all you are planning to go into litigation, it gives a thrill ना कि यार यही करना है and I'm enjoying it अभी.
Enjoying it,
How
right,
fun it would be to
Yes.
go and argue in the actual court.
right.
So Gauri, are you also planning to go into litigation?
I haven't really decided yet. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy litigation. I enjoy like putting my points forth, and I like the art of arguing. But I haven't yet decided. So
Okay.
let's see.
Okay. Let us come to the best part of mooting. I mean, your best experience in mooting. So, what was your? Of course, you have won 5 moots. I'm sure it would be one of those, but which one is the best?
If I have to tell you the best one, it is always the first national mood that you win. So
I'm
basically,
happy
that
that you mentioned first national mood. Otherwise, I would have gone to the freshers mood where I cried. I was like, no.
no,
Okay.
no, the first national mood which we won was in Modern Law College here in Pune.
Okay.
So basically, they had given us two sets of problems.
Hmm.
First one was still the semi-final round, and for the final round, there was a completely different set of problems that they had given.
Hmm.
And both of them were uniquely different from each other.
This does
One
not
was
happen
about
very often. No? You do not get
no,
two
it doesn't. It
different things.
doesn't. It was it was very interesting. That was the only reason we took that key as this. And if I
So
have to
do
tell,
you
that
get
was a
time to
second moot,
prepare for the finals alag se?
15-20 minutes, that's it. Maximum
Yeah.
15-20
No
minutes you
problem
get.
in 15-20 minutes. So how are you
Yes,
going
to
to
Yeah.
prepare
answer?
your arguments.
No
And
So that's
memorial.
the
sometimes,
fun.
semi-final you might be
That's fun.
the
That's
appellant or whatever, and then your slide switches in 15-20 minutes. So
okay. I
It
mean,
was it was pretty interesting
no
to.
memorial, nothing. You just have 15-20 minutes
No,
to
you will get the
search.
memorial 15 minutes prior. You will get the memorial 15 minutes
No,
prior
no,
of the
no. That
opponent.
I'm
If
not.
I
You just mentioned that they have a different problem in the
Yes, you
final.
have to you have when you have
So
to
when will
submit the
you
memorials,
prepare the
na, you
memorial?
have to you have to submit four memorials, two for the problem one respondent petition,
Oh,
two for
okay.
problem
I
two
thought
respondent petitioner. At the
even if
very
you're
beginning,
not
you will get the
qualifying, you
memory
have to work
submission.
on two
Yes, yes,
problems.
yes, yes, yes,
Okay. I thought
yes.
yeah, after qualifying, you get the problem and then you have to.
No, 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 no. That happens on the very same during the very same
Okay.
competition.
Okay. Nice.
So one was about making abortion legalized in
Hmm.
India, and one was anti-defection, that is disqualification of
Hmm.
ministers from the
Even I
parliament.
have done a moot
So
on disqualification.
anti-defection,
Yeah,
yes.
anti-defection.
So it was so amazing that it was the moot. It was our second moot. We were just back from Mumbai doing our first moot.
Hmm.
We were so pumped up, ki nahi, we have to win a moot. The second
We
moot,
have
we
to.
get an opportunity, and we are like, we have to give it everything that we have got. So at that point, we used to like sit good 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours together, working on the Memorex in 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the night. We used to be together in the college, at someone's office, at some cafe, working on the mood prepositions. So this is something new, that is something new, framing the arguments. The competition in itself was so amazing that so basically what happened, the first round which we did, though it was an offline moot court competition, we had to argue online because the team from Tamil Nadu couldn't make it to Pune.
Okay.
So it was so weird that I am sitting in a courtroom. The judges
Hmm.
are right next to us in the another classroom, and
Hmm.
the third team is in Tamil
Online.
Nadu. They're
Yeah.
online. So it was one hell of an experience. After that, in that moot court competition, we were the top scoring team in every round. We
Wow.
got qualified to the finals. The finals case was about the then Maharashtra politics, about
Hmm.
anti-defection.
Hmm.
Amazing topic. Me and my other teammate over the co-counsel, we used to support two different parties. So it was kind of personal, but it was kind of professional too. So it
Uh,
was very fun discussing, arguing on those topics. And then finally, the best and amazing part that I think of right now is when the organizing college principal announced our college's name and our names as the winners of the National Moot Court competition. And that is one moment that I would never forget in my life.
I know, right? I mean, winning your first
Holding the
national
first
trophy.
trophy, yes, holding the
Yeah.
first trophy in your hands, knowing that yes, you have done it. You all those sleepless nights, all that hard work of yours have paid off. And this is the time that you
You
whatever you have
enjoy.
worked for, it is in that trophy itself.
Right. Amazing, amazing. I always enjoy talking about moods. I have had, I think, 3 or 4 episodes. We have spoken about moods extensively for straight 20-25 minutes, but this is the first time where we have three people discussing one mood without. So I have come like really unprepared. No question. I did not send you the question. No questions.
No,
I
right.
was like just बात करनी है mood के ऊपर. So let's do that. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely.
It was pleasure talking to you, having such a fun
Thank you for
conversation.
having us.
This is the first time we are doing something like this. I am a huge podcast fan. I listen to the Joe Rogan show. I am the TRS. I am too much into listening podcasts day in and day out.
Yeah, I too love listening to podcasts, and that's where the idea came. From where the idea came. Also, because we as law students have so many questions that we do not get an answer to, and we do not get to speak to
Right.
professionals as often. So I was like, let's do this. And yes, podcast is like one podcast a day is keeps you updated.
Must.
Yeah, is must.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
TRS,
That is absolutely true.
Rajshamani, Prakhar ke Pravachan, whatever it is.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So thank you so
I
much.
think for me,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when I was in my first like second, third years, whatever, you are just so clueless. You want to do things, but you don't know how to do it. So I think one something that I decided for myself is ki whoever comes my way, asking for any inputs or at least a guidance on how things are. I'm like, I would definitely like to be a part of that because it always helps. Like I remember even today, so for me, people who are 2, 3 years senior, whenever they give me any inputs, even if it is the most obvious of things, it makes a difference because you get, some light on some
Yes.
issues or questions that you have. So,
Exactly. So, this idea came because when we entered fourth year, again, the peers were clueless,
hmm,
right?
right.
To ले लिया, but now what to do? They have so many questions which they do not get uh, an answers of. So I was like, I have faced a similar situation when I cleared 12th. I did not know I want to do law. Some senior
Hmm.
guided me, and then, I'm really happy that I took law. So I think let us do this
Yeah,
because it gives you another level of happiness if you're helping someone. And then
exactly.
helping someone is one thing I understood after doing this, that I'm not really helping others, I'm helping myself. If I'm speaking to people, I enjoy
Right.
it, and it is improving and honing my own skills. So yeah.
So one
Yes.
interesting thing that I would like to share is that in our college, we have started, this is the first study we're doing this, we have started a Moot mentorship program. So
Okay.
what we have done is 5 to 6 seniors from my batch. We all came together with an idea that each one of us will take 10 to 15 juniors who are interested in doing what mooting is. They are very
Hmm.
keen on learning about moot, but they don't, matlab, it is not every time easy for them to go and approach some senior or some faculty to know okay,
Yes.
how to do this, how to do that. So it was a 2 month extensive program which we ran in our college where we took sessions of those first year, second year kids, telling them what mooting is, how to go with a problem, from basics of mooting to make them argue on various topics. So it was a fun experience, something that I wanted when I was in my first or second year, that there should be someone who could just
Yeah.
come and give me a proper guidance regarding moots. But then, yes, now that we are doing it, it just satisfy that one thing that yes, we are helping the community to do good in the moot courting at least.
Yes. So same with me. As I mentioned, we have freshers moot court in our college. So
Right.
right now the freshers have their moot court competition on 20, pardon, on 22nd. So the moot court society basically organizes a session. I took that 2 hours long workshop for introducing them to moot courts, what moot courts are, and then
Hmm.
each team they have registered, and then they get a mentor allotted, a senior who will mentor them for
Oh,
the moot courts. So each mentor gets 2 or 3 teams. They have to mentor it and overlook till the date of competition. So we are going through that process right now. They have it on
Right.
22nd, and I
oh,
completely agree. It feels really good when they make those changes, they improve, and when you think कि भाई first day क्या कर रहे थे और अभी कितना अच्छा कर रहे हैं. So it
अभी
makes,
क्या कर रहे हैं राइट.
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, I think I will get along so well because we can talk about podcast, we can talk about meeting, and then constitution is always there. So I wish to keep
Amazing.
in touch with you guys, and
Yes,
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 I
for
wish
same.
sure.
you all
We
the
feel
very
the same
best
too.
because we are
Thank
going
You
you,
to
too,
thank
do
you.
Rajni.
graduation very soon. All
Yes.
the very best.
All
Same
the
to you,
best to
Rajni.
you too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Vedant. Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Gauri.
Bye.
having us.